Son of a bitch.
Groovy.
Hey everybody, this is Matt the Movies coming at you with my review of 9, the 2009 animated movie that was produced by Tim Burton, and just from the look of it, you feel like he had his fingerprints all over it, which I actually feel like that's a good thing, even though his career is kind of winding down to a large degree. I thought this was a movie that showed how he still had his touch when it came to visuals, and the storytelling of this movie is pretty great. This movie was sent to me by my buddy over at Pug Love Productions, who wanted me to check it out and review it, and I am very happy to be able to do so. I enjoyed the movie to a great deal. I thought it was very interesting and well made, and the visuals were impressive. I will say I was surprised by how short this movie is. I mean, it comes in at like 80 minutes or something like that, even maybe a little bit less than that, which was a surprise to me. But also, I didn't think it was a bad thing, because I thought that there was a complete story here. And yes, I did feel like I was like, oh crap, that's over already. It kind of flew by, but at the same time, there didn't seem to be a whole lot more to say. For those of you who don't know what this movie's about, essentially it takes place in a dystopian future where man was creating machines, and basically it had like a kind of Terminator style moment where the machines took over and destroyed humanity, and the only kind of living creatures left are these little beings that look like they were kind of made out of fabric with apparatuses, and they have been imbued with part of a soul, and they go around and they're trying to make a new life for themselves, but at the same time they too are afraid of the machines that took out humanity, and they have to kind of protect themselves from that, and at the same time also kind of create a society among themselves, even though they all have very disparate personalities, which is interesting. And this is a very minor spoiler, so if you don't want to hear it, flash forward about 10 seconds, but it's interesting to me because they are all parts of the soul of the same person, the person who created them. So it was really interesting to see how they all kind of played out in different ways, because they were all very different in their personality types. And I love the cast of this movie, the voice actors. I thought they all brought very different type of performances to their characters, which made them all really work, and some of them were viewed with like sounding older and wiser than others. And Elijah Wood plays Nine, the titular character, and he's the guy who, well, he's the being that we meet right off the hop. He just is waking up and coming to realize what the world he exists in is now, and he's kind of seems to be the most typical kind of the regular Joe of the group, and I thought his character was a little bit underwhelming. He was kind of a means to an end. He was the guy who you could kind of relate to and understand, and he seemed to be a bit too altruistic, but it kind of makes sense for the story. But you know, he just meets these guys, and he's willing to risk everything to try to see people and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, he was perfectly serviceable. But for me, it was the rest of the cast that I thought was much more interesting. Like, you had Seven, who's voiced by Jennifer Connelly, who was this kind of the warrior of the group, and I thought it was very cool that they had the only female voiced character be the most warrior like of them all. I thought that was a very cool touch, and I thought she did a great job. And then you had Martin Landau, who is who you meet right off the hop, who's kind of this kindly older guy who tries to take Nine under his wing, and then things happen to him, and it kind of goes from there. But I mean, Martin Landau as an actor is just one of the most lovable dudes out there, so to have him be the voice of the character like that, I thought was just an absolute master touch. And of course, Martin Landau worked with Tim Burton in the past, where he was in Ed Wood with him, and I mean, just a great performer, and very, very marvelous part of this film, because he makes that character so lovable that you care about him throughout the rest of it. And then you have John C. Reilly, who plays Five, who's kind of the follower of the group, but he has a good heart and you know, wants to do what's right, but he's also kind of a little bit timid. And John, again, a great actor to tap to play that kind of role. Then you have Christopher Plummer, who kind of sees himself as the leader of them all, and the wisest, but he's also very self-serving. And it's interesting because obviously, you know, you think of Christopher Plummer, you think of roles like his character in The Sound of Music, and Yes, the Sound of Music, I should say. And to see him play a more dastardly figure, which he has definitely played villains in the past as well, but you know, it was a little bit more against type than some of the other actors here, but I also thought he did a great job. And I mean, just the look of this movie, I mean, you have, like I said, you have these machines, and they're very different than the type of machines that you would see in most films. I mean, you have this kind of spider-like thing that kind of reminds me a lot of the creatures or the machines in the Matrix, and I think it looks really cool. And you have like the red eye that brings to mind HAL from 2001, and just that worked very effectively. But you also have this thing that looks more like a skeleton of like a cat or something like that, that is the hunter that comes after them. I thought that it was really interesting looking and served the film extremely well. I mean, at the end of the day though, it did come down to the 9 beings, and I thought all of them were very entertaining, and the story was really interesting. The visuals were great. Overall, I enjoyed this movie a great deal, and I would definitely love to thank my friend over there at Pug Love Productions that he sent it to me, and there'll be a link to his channel in the description below. Go check out his channel, subscribe. He's just a great guy, and he sent me a movie that I really enjoyed. So those are my thoughts on 9. Let me know in the comment section below what you think, if you're a fan of it, if you've never heard of it, if it sounds interesting to you, whatever. Other than that, please hit that like button, hit that share button. It makes it much more likely that other people come check out this review and let me know what they think, which would be awesome, because I love talking to people about movies. And speaking of which, if you are one of those people who are new here or you just haven't done it yet, please hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you can come and find out when I put out a new video, check it out, and give me that feedback. It would be awesome. Aside from all that though, have yourself a good day.